New information from the Middle East now. Israel sends a stark warning to Iran after conducting airstrikes over the weekend against Iranian and Syrian forces in Syria.
I've been warning for some time about the dangers of Iran's military entrenchment in Syria. Iran seeks to use Syrian territory to attack Israel for its professed goal of destroying Israel. Israel holds Iran and its Syrian host responsible for today's aggression. We will continue to do whatever is necessary to protect our sovereignty and our security.
Joining us now, Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Davis, senior fellow and military expert at Defense Priorities. The Israelis have been trying to stay out of this Syrian war as much as possible. They went after what they say are Iranian targets. The Iranians denied that they had any personnel there. Where is the truth, Colonel?
Well, I think when you look at what actually happened, it's, I mean, Iran can deny it all day long, but I think in the end it's pretty clear that they did lose some troops. Independent reporting from the region confirms this. And, you know, Israel has the right to defend themselves. And when you have, whether it was Syrian or an Israeli drone entering their airspace, they absolutely have the right to shoot that down and then to retaliate as they did. And, you know, you'd think at some point that Syria and Iran realized that Israel's serious about their security, and then you can't just play around with them. Yeah, well, and they had an Israeli F-16 that was shot down a couple of days back. The pilots ejected and escaped, but that's the first time Israel has lost a warplane since, what, 1982? Right, yeah, 1982. And what apparently happened was that they were swamped with a number of, I think, more than a dozen different anti-aircraft missiles, one of which finally got close enough to disable the aircraft. But that didn't work out very well for Syria or Iran either, because in retaliation, Israel went back and completely wiped out a number of different batteries. So the net for Israel and Syria was a definite win for Israel. And I think Syria is going to really consider again before they allow their airspace and their personnel to be used as a surrogate by Iran to do anything to Israel. But that is the question. I mean, could this thing continue to escalate upwards from here? No, I don't think so, because certainly Syria definitely cannot afford to have yet another military enemy, you know, because they're still fighting for their lives in there. And Iran is struggling as they are. They're actually still struggling internally. So the last thing they need is to actually add to their difficulties. And they also don't want to spawn the military from the Israeli Defense Force, which is clearly the most powerful one in the region, against their assets there. So they want to try to be under the radar, but this time that they went too far. But the Russians are propping up the Syrian government. And what are the dangers of Russian involvement, maybe against Israel here? Right, and that is one of the definite the problems that afflicts the whole area. And this whole Syria thing really exposes just how fragile and chaotic the whole Middle East is, but especially in Syria. Russia definitely does not have any interest in engaging military operations against Israel, so they're raising their concerns about that. But apparently, the high-level delegations between the two nations are trying to deconflict. But Russia's on a very delicate timeline because they want to defend their own interests in the Middle East, but they don't want to expand it into something that they don't even want to get into. So it's a danger, but I think that we're going to be able to navigate this. Iran and North Korea are the two remaining members of George W. Bush's axis of evil. The North Koreans have issued this invitation to a summit meeting at the hands of Kim Jong-un's little sister. The South Korean president, I don't know, kind of rebuffed the invitation a little bit, or at least dodged it. Right. What do you think about the prospects? What are the North Koreans trying to accomplish here? Well, first of all, let me just reinforce. There will be no war on the Korean Peninsula unless we start one with a preventive military strike. So that's why I hope that the administration, through Vice President Pence's overtures to have talks with North Korea, indicate a shift in their strategy. Because the ultimate objective of the United States is to prevent North Korea from using any of their nuclear weapons, which they've now had for over a decade, both now and into the future. And so we don't want to start a war that would actually prevent or cause the very thing we're trying to prevent, but we also have to recognize that diplomacy is going to take a long time, and we should enter into that, because if we don't even talk, then obviously no diplomacy is going to be possible. But that must never come at the expense of the clear and never blinking military deterrence that we have via our military.
Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Davis, now with Defense Priorities. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.